Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. In this one I'm going to be going over 2 and 3 kunais along with full defense. Several people have been asking me when and how they would actually use those, because I said set up the preset, but I never really explained when they would actually use these in what situation. Now before I get into this, I'm just going to say this set right here, you are going to use this for pretty much every hit. You will very rarely actually use 2 or 3 kunais or full defense. You're going to use this for most hits. So you shouldn't expect to use these all the time and have to switch your sets all the time. So I wouldn't even worry about these as much. I would just focus on getting this as high defense as possible and don't worry about these as much, because these are only used in certain situations. Okay, so there is no for sure way to know that someone is gemmed a certain way before they hit you. And that's what these other sets are for. There is no way to tell if they are gemmed for full attack or full defense debuff. Now there is ways to give it an experienced guess, and that's basically all these are. If you're going to use 2 or 3 kunais or full defense, it's going to be an experienced guess pretty much every single time, unless it's a test hit and you already know how they're gemmed and all that. Other than that, it's a guess. But first situation that you may be able to guess at, if you see someone that is rallying people, let's say someone in +5 Bacchus and they're rallying someone in full Frost Lords. If they hit that person and they drop like 1 billion power, and that person does not have a kunai in there, it's just plain full Frost Lords, that person likely gem for full defense debuff. That, or they have a very bad setup. And if that person comes and sets on you, and you're willing to take the chance of losing a lot of troops, you can switch to 2 or 3 kunais and see if you can eat it. But be warned, +5 Bacchus has a lot of attack behind it, even if they gem for full defense debuff. And also there is those gem sets to think about. You got most likely the Slayer set, which gives both defense debuff and attack. So that is another thing to worry about, and makes it a little harder to get an accurate guess. Now, other than a situation like that, it's really going to be a guess. Really no way to tell. Now, if you are not sure how they're gemmed, which is going to be every single time, you're going to take the first hit in this. And if they do manage to burn you in this, there's probably something off, but you can't change it right then. So you got to get good at reading reports. If they are gemmed for heavy defense debuff and they manage to burn you in this, the win is going to be very small. It's going to be within 1 million, 2 million range. Now if they gem for attack and manage to burn you in this, it's probably going to be a little bit larger win. So you will be able to guess a little bit better on that. And hopefully the next hit you throw the right set. And then after that, when they leave, you can go and fix whatever was off. Probably your troop count or your gems or something was a little off and you burned. Because this should work for pretty much every single hit. Very rarely will you actually have to use these. Now, there is a way to make 3 or 2 kunais work every single hit. The problem with throwing 2 or 3 kunais, let me go over this first. The defense on them. that is the overall issue that makes these dangerous to play with if you throw more than one. Also, if you throw more than one, they become a little bit less effective on taking the defense debuff away. That is another factor. But the main problem is the defense. It's a 235% drop on each frost wielder you give up for one kunai. The problem with that is, if you do not have the proper troop count to handle a hit with that lower defense, you're going to burn pretty bad. That is the issue with using more than 2 or 3 kunais. Now the way to counter that is you can build a little bit extra troops than you actually need, and you can set around in 3 kunais all the time. And if you see somebody setting around in a lot of kunais and taking rallies back to back, not switching their gear, nothing, they have a lot more troops than they actually need. Now with this, you can have a little bit lower troop count and still cap the rallies. And if you have that lower troop count and you want to switch your gear up all the time and take the chance, just know you are lowering your defense a lot, and you probably don't have enough troops to support a +5 Bacchus hit with 14,000 attack with 3 kunais. You are going to lose quite a bit, and if you want to take that risk, go ahead and start giving a little bit of a guess and see if you can get it. If you actually do manage to switch to the right set on the right hits, you'll do rather well. They won't even touch your traps. But if you do mess up, and that's my warning, if you do mess up, you are going to lose a lot. A lot. If you do not have enough troops, you will lose 80+ million troops if you throw the wrong set on the wrong hit. It's just my warning to you guys. I'm not trying to scare you or nothing, but if you don't have those extra troops and you don't have enough defense, you're going to lose a lot of troops if you throw 3 kunais on against a full attack set. That's just how it's going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. So this set is going to be the best all around, and these sets are going to be very situational, educated guesses, experienced guesses, whatever you want to call it. These are not something you're going to use all the time with this setup if you're following my other videos. If you have your own setup, these might work a little better because you have more troops or more defense or something like that. But for this particular setup, go with this choice if you are not sure, because this is going to work the best all around. Okay. I'm not sure how else to explain this other than you're basically guessing when you're going to use these. There's really no surefire way to know if how they're gemmed. If you guys have more questions on this, I can answer them. It's just really hard to explain a situation that you would actually use these unless they hit one of your other guys and they capped them, and they could tell you what kind of gems they're using, and when they get out of their prison and they come for you, you might be able to guess. But if they change their gems and you throw the wrong set again, you're going to lose quite a bit. So there's really no 100% guarantee they're going to gem a certain way without capping them first. And if you cap them, they're probably not going to come back for a second try if you let their hero go. So hopefully this helped you guys a little bit. I'm not sure how else to really explain this. If you guys have a better way of explaining this, leave a comment. Now, if you guys are going to do this, the best way, if you're going to play with 3 kunais or full defense or something like that, the best way to kind of get them to gem more your way is basically gem bait. If you're going to set around in this, there's more of a chance that they're going to gym more for attack, and in that case you would just switch to full defense. And if they gym that way, you're going to eat them with no problem. And that would work the other way. Like if you're sitting around in full defense, kind of like full Frost Lords or setting in this without a kunai, you could do it that way because they're going to gym for more defense debuff. Hopefully. If they gym for attack anyways and you switch to this, you just want it for them. So you have to be very careful if you guys are going to play with this. If you don't have those extra troop count or enough defense or whatever the case with these new rallies, if you mess up, it is very costly for anybody. It doesn't matter what setup you have, it can go backwards very fast. There's just too many boosts being given out lately to mess up. If something is off, you are likely going to burn. If you throw the wrong set, you're probably going to burn. You can't mess up with all this new stuff. It becomes quite costly if you do mess up. If your setup's wrong, if your gear's wrong, if your gym's wrong, if a couple troops are off, you can burn from that. So if you guys are going to play with this and take the risk, try to do it safely. Try not to throw the wrong set. Be very careful about it. If you want to build those extra few troops and be able to sit around in this because you have enough troops to support the lower defense, then you can go for that. But you still got to be careful. If somebody with enough attack and enough research comes along, they will still burn you. It won't be as bad because you got those troops, but you could possibly still burn because of that lower defense. And which in that case, all you would have to do is throw on something with a little more defense and you'd cap that person. But you still have to be careful no matter how you set up. So that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.